Hello, and today we're going to discuss the story model as a tool for jury decision making. Now, this is a study for the OCR A-level psychology specification, and like I say in all these videos, I know not all of you are interested in psychology, but I feel like even if you're not studying the specification, if you have a slight interest in psychology, watch this video because it might be interesting to you. Now, I do want to also say that there are more tech videos coming soon, so if that's what you're interested in, please stay tuned. I'm just trying to get all these videos done because doing these videos, explaining it to you guys, helps me to learn, so it's good all around. So this study that we're going to cover is for the forensic psychology option from the option of applied psychology paper, and it's for the persuading a jury section of that option. So let's talk about what the story models are. Put simply, the story model is essentially the idea that you will, when trying to make sense of something, in this case a court argument or a court case, you will put together sequential stories in your mind that make sense to you, and suggest that that's how juries reach their decisions as to whether a defendant is guilty or innocent based on what whether the story makes sense to them or whether it makes logical sense, basically. Mann et al., this is for a different section, but Mann et al. 2004 found that the best way to detect lies that jurors made was to the most effective police officers in that study that are detecting lies were those who used inconsistencies in the story to detect whether the person was lying or not. So story creation is quite a powerful thing for mental kind of processing. So how does it apply to the jury room? Well, Pennington and Hasty, Pennington and Hasty carried out a lab experiment to ascertain this. They did it on 130 students from Northwestern University and Colorado University. And what they did was each of the participants was separated by a partition, and they were assigned to one of four conditions. So an independent measures experiment. They were either assigned to have the defense items in story order and the prosecuting items in witness order, or any combination of that. So there's four possible combinations that they could have had. So let's talk about what witness order is. Witness order is just what they call the normal trial order, and the idea of that is that historically it's been believed that if you present your best witnesses first or your best witnesses last, you will come out on top. That's witness order. So they either had defense items in witness order and prosecuting items in story order, or any combination of those two ideas. There there were 39 pieces of evidence for each one, and for each condition, the sizes of the groups were matched. Now, I don't normally talk about for evaluation histories, but with independent measures design experiments, we've got all the usual problems. We've got all the participants in the story order, prosecution, witness order, defense could have just been really mean people. So that could account for the higher percentage of guilty verdicts, and not the fact that it was actually the story model. So we've got reliability issues there with control over participant variables, but it was an independent measure design experiment with these 130 students from Colorado and Northwestern universities divided into equal groups, 39 pieces of evidence for each group, and they were either in prosecution story order, prosecution witness order, or the other way around, and defense story order or defense witness order. So that's that, and the list to an audio tape of the real trial. It was slightly adapted to cut bits of evidence out so that they could have their 39 pieces of evidence, but it was a it was a real trial with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts prosecuting, and Caldwell and his defense team in the defense. So it was a real trial. So you've got low ecological validity because the participants are in a lab experiment and they're separated by partitions. We've also got low reliability because of participant variables, but we've got high ecological validity in one sense because the stimulus trial is real, even though it's cut into pieces. Each participant their introduction to the experiment began with the trial following the normal procedure as far as possible, other than the specific bits that pertain to which condition they're in. So every participant, the trial began with the judge's indictment and ended with the judge's instructions to the jury to try and get as much ecological validity as possible. So the trial followed the normal order as far as possible. Now, what were the results? Well, I'm just going to have to flick to my notes to look for this because I don't have them memorised off by heart yet. So the results are in percentage of participants given a guilty verdict. So in the condition where the witness items were presented in story order, so the defence has the own benefit of the story, but the prosecution doesn't. That would suggest that the defence case is going to make most sense to participants, and in that case, it was only 31% of guilty verdict. But when the prosecution had the benefit of the story order, so the sensible order, and the defence didn't, that dropped to 31% guilty verdict. So even thinking about all the confounding variables that could have influenced that, that's still a pretty major difference. The other ones where they had that both in story order or both in witness order, there wasn't much of a difference.
It's 14:30.
59% prosecution versus 63% defense. Yeah, I'm not sure if they analyze when they did statistical analysis on that, whether it came out as being statistically significant or not, but that's certainly not as big a difference as 78 and 31. So remember, that's 78 when the defense had the benefit of story order and the prosecution didn't, and 31% when the defense had the benefit of story order but the prosecution didn't. So 78% guilty when the prosecution got it, and 31% when the defense has got it. So we've already discussed some evaluation issues, but the main ones, like I outlined before, are ecological validity. The participants are separated by partitions. They didn't deliberate like a normal jury do. They listened to a tape recording of a trial. They weren't actually in the trial. The pieces of evidence were artificially separated so that they could be used in a different order. The participants were students from university, so that might have some ethnocentrism and kind of age bias. There might also be some social desirability, because at the end, participants were asked to rate their confidence in their verdict on a Likert scale, and least confident were expressed by those who heard the witness order in both conditions, and most confident was expressed by those who had heard one of them in story order, and that would be the one they selected, and the other one in witness order. So let's talk about usefulness. This shows that a jury does indeed, or may indeed, use the story model. Quite a good attempt at establishing causation was achieved here, and it suggests that in spite of the participant variables, there is quite a big difference. So it indeed does suggest that the having the benefit of the story model is going to sway the jury members to that side way of thinking. So if the defense has the story model, the defendant is going to get acquitted, and if the prosecution has the story model, the defendant's going to get convicted. It is important to know, as Pennington and Hasty, Pennington and Hasty even noted in their original paper, was that the defense case was less plausible than the prosecution case. The apparently, according to my notes here, the defense case rested upon the I'll just have to check this. The murder victim being drunk and lunging towards the defendant's knife, which is slightly less plausible than he just murdered him in cold blood. So that is a concern there. It's a price to pay. It's another uncontrolled variable that comes from using a real trial, but like we said, you get ecological validity advantages there. So that's one thing to consider. They concluded that the STAR model does indeed have a pervasive, important effect on jury decision making, and that the and they said that because the defence case was less plausible in this case, this may be even more important and more sort of amplified where the defence case is just as plausible as the prosecution case. So some things to keep in mind there. But that's Pennington and Hastie, 1988, the effect of STAR model on jury decision making. Now, let's talk about a few evaluation issues. One more time, we've got reliability issues, participant variables, because each one was independent measures, so some of them just could have been crazy and just decided to convict everyone regardless of the evidence. We've got ecological validity issues because it wasn't a real trial, so they might not have tried as hard to find out the truth as if they were real jurors and playing with a real person's life. They were separated by partitions, so that's not like a real jury. They had a real trial, so that's something to consider. They were all students, so that their behaviour may not be representative of other juries from other places, and those are some issues to consider there. This would definitely sort of support an individualist explanation of behaviour. We can produce the story models on our own, and they're not influenced by the situation. From the evidence we hear, we produce the story models internally, and there are also maybe issues with reductionism. There's other factors that can influence how a jury behaves, other than whether they used a story model or not, and which side had the benefit of the story idea. There could also be a ton of other factors which Pennington and Hastie go to acknowledge in their paper, such as the plausibility of each argument itself and other things like that. So we've got a lot of issues that we can discuss if that comes up on an evaluation question. We've got ecological validity, we've got reliability, we've got reductionism, ethnocentrism, and lots of issues there. So Pennington and Hastie, 1988, tested the story model for jury decision making. They concluded that it did indeed, the story model indeed made most sense to jurors, so they swayed the way whichever the story model for whichever condition they were in, they were swayed to whoever had the story model. So anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like the video, please subscribe. My website address is down below if you want to go up to that. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.